Hello, 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 and good day, adventurers! Today we have in the shop bows Redux, or just the redoing of bows in general, and not just bows, but crossbows too. I ended up watching some videos by a couple of YouTubers and stuff like that, and I learned a little bit more about how bows work and how I understand bows now is different. And I don't necessarily remember everything that I did when I watched those videos, but I did look at my information, and I think I remember it just as well. So without further ado, I say let's dive right into the document, because this is going to be a short video because it's not a whole lot of details. It's just a little bit of a change on how bows work. Alright, so let's make big me disappear, little me appear, and let's bring up the document. Here we have bows Redux. It's a simple table document where we have all the bows and crossbows in the game, every single one of them. And I've changed some statistical information on all of them. So here we have all the bows: longbow, shortbow, composite, longbow, shortbow, heavy crossbow, light crossbow, double hand, heavy underwater, light underwater, heavy repeating, light repeating, heavy pellet, light pellet, heavy crank, light crank, launching. There they all are. Things that I've changed with all of them. Prices. Prices are based off of real money house rules. If you want to go off of their default prices for Pathfinder, they can go off of their default prices for Pathfinder. That's fine by me. Now, there is also damage that's been changed. As you can see, the damages are not the same. Longbow and shortbow do the same damage, same for composite. Now the damages are slightly higher for a crossbow, because crossbows by default were able to be strung a little tighter and were capable of pounding a little harder than a bow sometimes by default. It was just much easier to use and could be a little bit more stronger, and that's how I understood the video. So, and then crit information, we have ×3 crits here, 19 to 20 times crits for the crossbows. Ranges, I think I changed the ranges slightly, not a whole lot. But here we have all the ranges for all the bows, and then we have the weight for all the bows, and the damage type, and then the proficiencies. And then as you can see, some things that are different here: two special qualities for the bows, which is poundage and stiffness. And these two qualities alone is how you're going to change up the entire bow crossbow entire beam. Starting off with poundage. Poundage. Increasing poundage increases damage by 1 damage die step. Each damage die step above the last needs 1 strength modifier more to wield properly. This process costs 20 silver each time for bows and 50 each time for crossbows. Remember that all these prices are in silver because we're going off of real money house rules, which is where most of the necessities are in silver, not in gold. And so one thing to keep in mind is, so if you have a poundage of 1 damage die step higher, so a d6 would become a d8, as seen by this chart here. This chart is under weapons on the PFSRD 20. You can also find it in the core rulebook. There's a damage die chart for weapon size categories going up, and that's pretty much the chart that we're using. So a d6 becomes a d8, d8 becomes a d10, d10 becomes a 12, 2d4, 2d6, 2d8, 2d10, and it continues on like that forever. And so that's what we have for our damage die steps. And so poundage, when you increase poundage, you're going to increase it by 1 damage die step. You're going to increase the strength needed by 1. If you increase it by 2 damage die steps, then you're going to need 2 strength to be able to wield that bow. And then we have stiffness. Increasing stiffness increases the weapon's effective range by 10 feet. For each increase to a weapon's stiffness, the required strength modifier to use the bow goes up by 1. This process also costs 20 silver each time for bows and 50 each time for crossbows. So now, again, we have another thing that's going to need strength. So if you have, let's say, 2 poundage and 1 stiffness, so you've increased the range by 10 feet and you increase the damage step by two times, that means that the longbow is going to deal a d10 of damage at 110 feet, and it's going to need 3 strength to wield the bow. Now you're probably wondering, well, what's different about composite longbow and composite shortbow compared to longbow? What makes them any better? If this is how this is, do they still get their strength modifier added to damage for a cost of 150 gold each? Well, sort of, not really. Composite longbows are just made differently in general, which just cost themselves just a little bit more gold, not a crap ton more gold or silver, a little bit more silver, not gold. And what it is a composite bow allows their strength modifier to be used as part of the damage, but will only allow an amount of their strength modifier equal to the amount of poundage and stiffness the bow has combined. An example, if a composite longbow has a stiffness of 2 and a poundage of 1, the wielder would be allowed to add as much as 3 strength modifier to their damage. So the prices of a composite bow is mostly wrapped up in the additional poundage and stiffness that went into the bow. So the more poundage and the more stiffness in the bow, the more damage, the more strength modifier you get to add on to your damage. Meaning that you can end up getting a bow that someone cannot wield in general, not just composite bows. In default Pathfinder, if you had a composite bow with a certain strength modifier on it, people couldn't use it. And I think that rule should apply to all bows and crossbows. Certain strength modifiers, people just can't use the bow or the crossbow. Now, the difference between bows and crossbows is that the crossbows are usually cranked back or pulled back, depending on the style of crossbow it is, which is up to your GM on the style of crossbow. I think, and by default, I think they're pullback bows. And so strength modifier is still going to play a part for the bows by default. So that means that the more poundage the stiffness is, the more strength you need to use the crossbow or to use it. And so crossbows become a little bit more powerful and a little bit more unique to play along with. So that way they scale along with longbows and short bows, and that they become really powerful and really strong. So you technically could get a really powerful, really strong crossbow user, but it takes, but that time that it takes to reload becomes more and more valuable because you're doing much more damage because you get to start at a D10 or a D8 instead of a D6 like with the bows. And so that is my bows redux. I hope it makes sense. Poundage, stiffness, and composite bows all changed. I hope that poundage made sense. More damage, more poundage, more stiffness, more range. I hope that you guys are understanding this. I hope you guys like this. If you try it out, I think it's a lot of fun. I've tried it out a few times in my games, and it worked perfectly fine. There wasn't any issues or breaking that we found or discovered in any of the games that we had it in. But I've only done it a couple of times, not a whole lot. So if you guys do run it, maybe something should be run differently, maybe something should be added, or maybe something should be changed. Go ahead, let me know in the comments below, or come see me in a stream that I'm currently doing it, or comment on whatever current video just got released. It doesn't matter. Go ahead and let me know in any way that you can, and we'll see about maybe making those changes or alterations, or maybe I won't. It all depends. It's still my stuff at the end of the day. You guys are free to take this stuff and change it and have it work your way as much as possible. So I hope you guys are having fun. I really do. I hope you guys are enjoying the videos. I hope you guys have been enjoying the streams, and I hope you guys have a safe adventure.